So I'm finally making a start on the book that the majority of you voted for, which is the tapping solution for weight loss and body confidence. It's by Jessica Ortner, and in her introduction she shares many of the things that I think actually women in general, but I'm sure men do as well, are concerned about, and saying things, for example, like, you know, once you could fit into the dress, once you could fit into those jeans, you'd be happy, you'd get the job that you wanted, you would be, you know, not wanting to have your photograph taken, thinking that, you know, if you hide things emotionally, that, you know, then people won't know really what you're feeling physically and what you're really feeling about your body and the confidence that you have with your body. So it became a bit of an obsession, and I think, again, this is something that will ring true to quite a few people. It is, as she says, $1 billion industry. You have your Weight Watchers, your Slimming Worlds, your Rosemary Connolly, you know, umpteen different types of diets, and it is pushed at us, and we are often made to feel that when we do lose that weight, that is when we will be happy or we will be fulfilled. But she says, why does nothing seem to work? So when you have such a strong desire to lose weight, it says, your many attempts to shed the weight for good fall short. And I think that's probably what it's all about, isn't it? I myself have dieted, I've lost the weight, I have put the weight back on, I haven't gone back to maybe what was my heaviest weight, but I'm still not in a position that I would feel happy with my body, not just the way I look, but also from a health perspective as well. As you know, I'm getting older, then I need to be considering my health as much as I possibly can. I'm actually just going to read this section because I think this really rings true with me, maybe you guys as well. So it says, basically, what would finally make the difference to you losing weight? It can be summed up in 2 words: your emotions. Your emotions control your beliefs about yourself, your weight, and your worth. They also control your actions. Have you ever made a plan to eat healthily only to find yourself halfway through a box of cookies thinking, did I really do this again? Your emotions are the driving force behind every action that you take. You may know exactly what you should be doing, but you're not doing it because your emotions sidetrack you. Fear, resentment, guilt, they are all hijacking our best intentions on a deep biological level. Talking about this is an essential conversation that we're not having. We hear too much about food and exercise, but what about the overproduction of cortisol, known as the stress hormone? That's directly linked to obesity. Research is out there, but we've been conditioned to believe that weight loss is only about eating the right foods and exercising more. If we don't succeed, we blame our genes. Or worse, we believe that there's something inherently broken in us. And I think I've probably known for some time that my eating habits are controlled a lot by my emotions. It doesn't have to be sadness, it could be happiness. You know, I eat because I'm happy, I eat because I have achieved something, I eat because I've had a bad day, I eat because I feel stressed, I eat because I'm lonely, I eat because I'm tired. And all of these emotions tend to be, whether you want to call it an excuse or a reason for eating, treating yourself, whichever way you want to look at it, emotions do play a really big part in this. So by reading this book, what I'm hoping is that some of the EFT, the tapping that I have done for stress and anxiety, will also enable to assist with those emotions, and for me to hopefully not think that food is perhaps the answer to everything. So we'll see. Let's see what the next section of the book brings. Okay, so a lot of this is based on science, and what Jessica explains here is that Dr. Peter Stapleton is a clinical psychologist in Queensland, Australia, who spent 20 years basically treating eating disorders in a patients and researching weight loss and specific eating disorders. And part of that was about a study of how tapping impacts on food cravings and weight loss. And what she basically said was that there was a study of 8 to 9 women. It was a control study, and everybody was between the ages of 31 and 56 and had a BMI that classed them as being obese. Over an 8-week period, they completed approximately about 2 hours of tapping per week, just over 15 minutes a day, without dieting and without exercise. And they lost an average of 16 pounds by the end of that study. And even after that initial period that the weight loss lasted 6 or more months afterwards, even though the participants didn't continue to do tapping after the study had finished. So what she's saying is obviously that the emotional aspects that we have and the way that tapping works with our emotions, the way that we produce hormones and chemicals, particularly in stressful situations, it says begins with the amygdala, which is located in the limbic system or the midbrain, and it's been called the body smoke detector. When it senses danger, it tells the brain to initiate a physiological stress response, which we know as the fight or flight response. And then the hormone cortisol is produced. That leads to increased appetite, sugar cravings, and added abdominal fat. Even mild stress like worrying about why your jeans feel too tight or that you'll never lose the baby weight can cause your body to go into the fight or flight response. The same stress response happens when you experience common negative emotions like anger, fear, and guilt. And I think one of the biggest feelings that particularly I know a lot of women have, or people in general, around losing weight is that guilty feeling when you do have something, a cake or a chocolate bar or 3 packets of crisps or whatever it is, that the guilt itself often then causes us to eat those things secretly, causing more guilt, which obviously in turn would cause more cortisol released into the body and therefore creating more stress. And because all that body's energy is being channeled towards self-defense, less essential functions such as the digestion, they're either slowed down or shut down altogether. It says indigestion doesn't register as an urgent issue when you're literally running for your life, but that inability to digest food properly and efficiently has a negative impact on your metabolism and prevents your body from absorbing the nutrients that it desperately needs. And without that, it's going to trigger the feeling of hunger. not because it actually needs more food, but because the stress response has rendered it unable to properly digest the food that's available. Okay, so we've got a brief history into tapping. In 1979, when Dr. Roger Callahan, a traditionally trained psychologist, experienced his first major breakthrough after studying the meridian points, which is based on the ancient Chinese technique known as acupuncture. And the meridians are in the body, they're the energy channels that carry our vital life force, the key, as it's or various organs and systems into the body, and they run up and down both sides of the body, and each meridian is linked to a separate organ, such as the stomach, the gallbladder, kidneys, and so on. Acupuncture needles have been used then also to be inserted into these meridian points, where we actually tap to increase the energy flow. And we often, it says, touch these places unconsciously during times of stress. So, for example, we might hold our forehead, our chin, holding on here. So one of his students then, Gary Craig, began experimenting with tapping after he discovered that it was the tapping itself rather than a specific sequence that Dr. Roger Callahan had put together. So he simplified that process, which then became known as the EFT tapping, as it is traditionally used today. Okay, so on page 15 of the book, it tells us the very basic steps for tapping. So step 1 would be to choose your tapping target and create a reminder phrase. So that target, for example, could be that work has been really stressful, that you are frustrated about your weight, or even a physical pain such as a bad headache. You would then rate the intensity of that target on the 0 to 10 subjective units of distress scale, which is the general, 0, I'm not feeling any distress at the moment, to 10, it's kind of way up there. You would create a setup statement, which often goes something like, even though I am so frustrated about my weight, I love and accept myself. You would tap on what we call the karate chop point, which is just here. And this is where you would begin and, going through that setup statement, if you like. So, even though I am so frustrated with my weight, I really am so frustrated about my weight, I love and accept myself. So it's that type of thing. That's how we go. Then you would go through the 8 points in a tapping sequence while saying a reminder phrase out loud, and you would tap 5 to 7 times on each of the different points and repeat this until you feel some relief. Now, it does actually show you the tapping points in the book, which are the eyebrow point, side of the eye, under the eye, under the nose, on the chin, on your collarbone, under the arm, and the top of the head. You can tap on either side of the body. You can tap on even, both sides at once. So, if you wanted to do this, you can do this. Or we can change it around. Now, obviously, some of these you are going to want to do in private. You're not going to necessarily want to do that sat at your desk while everybody's around you. But the karate chop point can be done quite discreetly. So even in times where you're feeling just particularly anxious and you maybe have not got the opportunity to tap on all of the meridian points, you can just tap here. You can go to the bathroom and maybe do it there. The same with the collarbone, which is quite an easy one to just tap along to. And what you'll find is, as you get used to these points, you don't obviously need to look and refer to any guides as to where the tapping points are. You may want to just get used to the format of setting up a statement and then working your way through that statement. Although even if you get a little bit concerned about that, the important thing is to do the tapping. You will get relief from that, regardless of the statements that you're making. So just off the top of my head, I'm going to try and think of just a short tapping meditation, focusing around some weight issues, and then obviously I'll come back to that and see how it goes once I've read a little bit more of the book. So I'm going to start off on the karate chop point, and I'm going to say my focusing statement. So this weight that I carry on my body, I'm so frustrated about this weight that I carry on my body. I'm so frustrated about this weight that I carry on my body. I just wish I could lose some weight. I really wish I could lose some weight. I'm so frustrated about this weight that I carry on my body. This weight that I carry on my hips, on my stomach, on my legs. This weight that I carry, it's a heavy weight. It's a burden. It feels such a burden. I really wish I didn't have to carry this weight. I really don't like carrying this weight. It makes me feel sick. It makes me feel sick to the bottom of my stomach. I feel anxious. I feel anxious about the weight that I'm carrying. It makes me sad. It makes me upset. It makes me feel angry. It makes me feel frustrated. I'm so frustrated. So frustrated about the weight that I carry. Why can't I lose this weight? Why am I not losing the weight? What am I doing wrong? Where is it going wrong? Why does it go wrong all the time? Why can I never stick to it? Why can I never start a diet and stick to it? Why am I just not eating healthy? I just feel sick. I just feel sick to the bottom of my stomach. This weight that I carry. 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 I don't like feeling this way. I really don't like feeling this way. I wish I could change it. I wish I could change my weight. I wish I could lose the weight. I feel so angry that I can't lose the weight. Why can't I lose the weight? I really want to lose the weight. I am disappointed, but I love and accept myself. I love and accept the way that I am and the way that I feel. I love and accept who I am for what I am, even though I wish that I could lose some weight. I love and accept myself anyway. I love and accept myself anyway. In spite of the weight, I love and accept myself. I love and accept myself. Okay. Now the end bit I need a bit more practice on. I'm not too bad at doing the negative statement, and you always start with the negative statement, because it's important to honour what it is that you're feeling, the stress and the anxiety that you're feeling that creates the raising those cortisol levels, because that is what you are actually trying to reduce, those cortisol levels. So we have to start by acknowledging the stress level that we are starting off at on that scale that I mentioned previously. And what you should do when you then finish tapping is to revisit that scale and to see if you then feel less of that anxiety. And if you'd still like to get some more relief from that, is to maybe try the tapping sequence again to see if you then feel even more relief from it. Now, it will take time to do this. This is my first little go. I know about tapping, but I've not used it specifically for any weight loss and body confidence. So I'm going to read some more of the book. I'm just going to get my head around maybe some more of the common statements that might be used, and then I'm going to come back to it, and I'm of course going to do one of the tapping meditations in the morning, of which there is one that we can download. So I'm going to download that, and what I will do is record myself actually doing that tapping as I go along to the download. Thank you for that 20 minutes of your time, and I shall see you soon.